amazing things, and controversial things, but amazing things all the same. And we're going to talk about that in about a half an hour.
And this is from Blacks and Jews in Conversation with Italians. And Italians are a core part of our community from the inception of our organization. Thank you.
I forget his name, but man with glasses, beautiful smile. And he formed this knot-hole gang where we'd take the kids from Brooklyn and sit them in the bleachers for a quarter each, and the likes of that. And no, you just couldn't. That was it. That was part of the bonding.
So what happened when they moved to California?
I wasn't there.
By that time, that was
a great disappointment.
It didn't bother me.
Good riddance, I said.
I wasn't.
Take the Yankees too, as far as I'm concerned.
I wasn't infatuated with them. Just a fan. Something to talk about, and girls as you're growing up. But nevertheless, so anyhow, just.
Did you have a tight-knit family?
Indeed.
Was it a large family?
Well, I had two sisters. But the bigger family.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Oh, yes. We had cousins all over the place. My father's uncle was in Fort Hamilton. He was in the construction business. My father had come over just before the war, for World War I. He had been in the Italian army, and he was conscripted immediately and sent up to Yaphank, Camp Upton in Long Island. That's where Irving Berlin was.
Yep.
Yeah.
See how I know all these things? See, I'm really from his generation. I don't belong in this one.
Anyhow, he was quickly made a corporal, and he was extremely proud of that, because he was by now pretty familiar with the codes and the rules and the marching orders and all of the, and so he was quickly able to take the new recruits and get them into shape, and he retained that framed document that showed that he was a corporal.
I notice you're in good shape.
Well, I followed his path.
And Paul's in relatively good shape.
Relatively. Chasing up and down 5-story school buildings after 9-year-olds is always energetic.
Yeah, we had a big family, and that was I never regretted being born of Italian heritage. There was something great. First of all, there was the food, there was the camaraderie, there was the
music.
The music.
The art. The architecture.
Can you imagine going to high school? First of all, we would sit around on a Saturday afternoon around the radio, the entire family. My father he'd always be working around. He was a carpenter, greatly skilled carpenter. He could just about make anything from the most difficult outdoor kind of construction to the finest a piece of furniture. He made me my desk, a beautiful desk for when I graduated high school. Anyhow, where was
You'd sit around the radio on Saturday.
Yeah, listening. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
A lot to remember.
I could use a contractor. I get a new piece of furniture within one day. It collapses within itself, and 6 of us staring at it for a weekend.
I'm happy you're here. I'm happy you're here.
We can look at the piece of furniture. What can we do? And we push it from here, we push it from there, and nothing can happen.
But there we would do every Saturday listening to Milton Cross in the Metropolitan.
Oh, we did that. My mother and I, we did that.
Just do that. But for 25 cents, a high school kid could come and sit at a Saturday night opera at the Brooklyn Academy of Music. They had, I'll never forget the impresario. His name was Alfredo Salmaggi, and it was like a movie star. His hair like a lady's down to his shoulders, a big puffy bouffant tie, a bow tie, a big white shirt, and a beautiful velvet jacket, and he'd promenade on the stage before the performance and let you know that we were going to be seeing Aida. And for 25 cents,
That's
seeing a
incredible.
production of Aida.
Wow.
Do you realize the orchestra and the number of people that you need in that production? You know, 25 cents, $1 went a long way in those days.
Today you
further than
give a
now.
dollar today to the homeless person blocking your entrance.
So Brooklyn was a great starting spot, and I enjoyed every minute. I enjoyed Boys High School, and I got a great opportunity. I'll tell you this because it doesn't happen too often in a person's lifetime. Ready to graduate, working with the physics teacher all term long, helping him with the attendance and with the cleaning the place and putting the test marks into the book and all of that, so he had little to do that was boring and whatnot. I just stayed for an hour or so after school and did this and cleaned the blackboard. So I liked physics and did reasonably well. At the end of the term, he comes to me and he says, well, you're ready to graduate. How would you like to receive the New York State Physics Teacher Award? I was stunned. I said, well, Mr. Davis, he said, that sounds great, but I have to tell you, because I know the marks of all the people, because I entered them into the ledger there. I said, I'm not the top guy, maybe 2 or 3 or something like that, but not the top guy. He was stunned. And he turns to me and says, wouldn't you like to have your parents see you up on the stage receiving? That melted me. I said, of course, I would love that. And so I did.
Isn't that important to have some reason, you know, to have a family come? Family should be there.
God, you can't imagine how proud they were.
Now, what if students today do not have parents, or they don't have a brother or a sister? They don't have somebody who's going to come and see them achieve or excel. Is there, in your mind, less motivation for them to get to that point?
Well, that depends on the individual. I'm not going to make
no, but based on how you felt.
Oh, I was overwhelmed by that.
Part of it is having your family join in the experience.
Of course. And they were all there. My grandmother was there, and she couldn't speak English, but she loved every minute of it. But here's the thing that's really interesting. It wasn't more than 3 weeks later. I get a letter at home from the dean of the School of Medicine at Columbia University, inviting me to come down there and talk to him, which only had one purpose, was how he could facilitate going to school there, and obviously so he could make a determination about me and all of that. Now this may sound incredible to many people. And you ask me, why did I become an engineer? And when I told you at 12 years old, I wanted, you know who my inspiration was? My father. My father worked on construction jobs all his life. He helped build the LaGuardia runway out into the water. At 6 o'clock in the morning, he would be there. 5 o'clock at home, he could be home, be working on the house, building an addition or this thing or that thing. And I just knew in my bones that's what I wanted to build things as I grew up. So to make a long story short, I advised him that I wasn't interested in entering the field of medicine. I'd have made a terrible doctor. I really did. I'm just too
Paul,
sentimental.
you agree with that, Paul?
Well, he made a darn good engineer. I mean,
so I did what I wanted to do.
We don't have a lot of time in this show. We're going to be back on in a half an hour to continue this conversation.
Stay with
and we can hear more about my dad, Paul DeRienzo Sr.'s incredible achievements as an engineer, one of the top engineers in his field in the entire world, and an inventor as well.
That's right.
of